Yo, what is going on? It is MF Buddy, and in today's video, we are going to be talking all things squad. Now, by the end of this video, you're going to be walking away with 3 things that are going to make you one of the most sought out teammates in Fortnite Zero Build. So without further ado, this is another episode of the MF Breakdown. All right, guys. So here is the first thing that is going to help you become one of the best teammates you can be in Fortnite Zero. So the first thing that you have to do is have to decide that you're going to be a selfless teammate. So here is some of the things that I mean by being a selfless teammate. When being a selfless teammate, one of the first things that you need to do is simply choose to just be mindful of what your teammates' needs are. So when you're looting up, do you hear one of your teammates say, I'm still looking for a shotgun, I need some ammo, I need some shield, right? Those are the type of cues that your teammate might be saying that you should be listening to. Because what if you're at a POI and you're walking past a shotgun and you just heard your teammate say, I need a shotgun, right? You should be listening for those types of things. And if you can help, you should be ready and willing to be able to help them with those things that they need. The second thing on this topic is understanding the importance of reviving them if they get knocked. Now, when you are playing squads, you might not think it, but if you can just all as a squad come together and revive your teammate, you're going to be able to get it off way quicker than you realize. Now, I know it might be a little bit of a hassle to stop in a busy situation to try to revive your teammate, but your teammate is way more important than you realize. This guy is one more body that's being shot at. This guy is somebody who can help support, provide some more covering fire, and he might even be the best person on your squad. And it's probably going to be in your best interest if you can learn how to prioritize reviving your teammates. The next thing on this subject is collecting reboot cards. Now, imagine you're in an intense situation and all your teammates go down, right? What are you going to do? You need to be the type of teammate that is selfless enough to understand that you most likely need to get away from the situation that you're in and you need to reset. What I like to do is if I'm in a situation like that and I see that 2 of my teammates have gotten knocked and I'm watching the third one get absolutely obliterated, I see my first teammate get thirsted and now I have to get his reboot card. Now to the second one, a reboot card on the map. I'm not thinking that I should go in there and try to fight the team that's killing my teammates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a way to get out of the situation. Okay, now this is super important because a lot of people, and maybe it's you, and we are kindly asking that you would maybe do something different. I'm just kidding. But a lot of you are going to try to stay in there and you're going to try to fight everybody in the POI when very truthfully, you don't need to do that. And honestly, your team would benefit so much if you would just leave the fight, you would get healthy, and if you would come back a little bit more calm and just collect the reboot card. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I have a pretty good track record in making sure that I get my teammates reboot cards and getting out safe. Now, I don't think that it's a special skill. I just think that it's a level of awareness that I understand that if I would have chose in the beginning to try to stay and fight that whole team, I probably would have ended up dead. So just remember, the reboot cards can be collected and you're probably just not making it a priority enough to collect them. And the last thing that I want to tell you about being a selfless teammate is if you made a mistake in the game and you were the one that sold, just take ownership. Now, before I get into this, I do want to tell you, we all make mistakes from time to time. I've sold more games than I care to admit. I've been the person who caused us to lose the game, but there are so many players who aren't taking ownership when they make a mistake. Guys, we need to become better at simple things like that. And if you don't do things like that, 1, you're compromising on a chance to just grow as a human being. And 2, you're causing the people around you to not want to play Fortnite with you anymore. And that might seem silly, but at the end of the day, Fortnite is a lot about relationships as well. So if you are the one who happens to fumble, who happens to cause the team to lose the game, just take ownership, say that you're sorry, and move on. Number 2, if possible, you should always establish an in-game leader or an IGL. So again, IGL is in-game leader, and what the in-game leader does is they are responsible for making the big decisions. So that can include where to rotate, what team you're going to fight, where you're going to loot, where you're going to drop, all those things. Now, the IGL is also responsible for taking ownership of that position and making sure that they keep the team safe, right? So when you have an IGL, there's so many benefits that come to that match. So one of the first benefits is that it's gonna eliminate that feeling of division that comes when there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. So if you've never heard that saying, it basically just means that there's too many people trying to call the shots and not enough people willing to follow. So the first thing that it's going to do is it's going to eliminate that chance of division and being pulled in two separate directions at the wrong time. And it's going to allow you to be able to come a sense of unity, right? Now, unity is power when it comes to a squad in Fortnite Zero Build. A team that plays as a unit, as a cohesive unit, has a highly more likely percentage chance to be able to come away with a victory royale, right? Now, the last thing that I want to say on this is if you are not the IGL, you have to learn how to be humble. You have to learn how to let somebody else lead. You have to be okay with playing for the team as opposed to just playing for yourself. All right, guys, for the last one, I wanted to do some live gameplay to be able to give a visual with this. So number 3 is learning how to add unique vocal cues to the pings that are already in game. Now, I'm going to break down what that means, and here's where we're going to start. Obviously, when you're playing squads, everybody has a different color, right? So in this, I'm obviously blue, and if you've noticed, if you're playing squads, there's somebody that's yellow, there's somebody that's purple, and there's somebody that's, I believe, pink, right? I don't know about you, but if I see a bunch of ping on the map, I don't necessarily know who's who. I'm not checking at the beginning of the game and saying to myself, okay, teammate 1 is yellow, teammate this is purple, blue, whatever it might be. And also, if somebody says over here I'm ping, and I don't know who they are, I kind of have to get distracted. I have to look up at the in-game in the left corner, and I have to try to figure it out really quick who's who, right? Now, what if there was a way that we could all help each other out by just being a little bit more vocal, okay? Now, I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. Now, when ping something, right, if there's nothing going on, it's relatively simple to see, and obviously there's a noise, okay? So the noise is good because it signals to your brain, we need to look at something. But when there's a lot going on and you're playing online, we might know that we need to look at something, but what are we looking at? Now, I think that what I'm going to give you right here will help your team overall, and will help you eliminate some of that noise. So what I like to do is when I place a map ping, I not only place the map ping, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to call out a color with it as well. Okay, so if I place a ping, I'm going to say this house over here on blue, right? Now, in this example, you might be looking at that and thinking like, okay, yes, I see the blue. But when you're in an intense situation and there's a blue ping over here and a yellow ping over there and a purple right here and a pink over here, right? What exactly are you supposed to be looking at? So by calling out the color, you're basically psychologically giving someone's brain a target to lock onto from the start. So now we know we have to look at something, and now we know what we are looking for, right? We're looking for the color of the ping. So if you are playing squads, get habit of not only just dropping a ping, but calling out the color, okay? So again, here's just like a quick rundown. All right, this house back here, on blue, right? Now your whole squad knows on blue, on blue, on blue. Boom, I see it, okay? This building back here, on blue ping, whatever it might look like. The next portion of this that I want to teach you guys about is making sure that you're utilizing the pings for their intended purpose, okay? So obviously there's the map ping and we have enemy pings as well. These are the two most commonly used ones. I know that there's different things for like loot here, defend here. All that stuff is not really utilized for the most part by most players. So these are the two most common ones that you'll end up using. If you use the other ones, you're crazy. I would be very challenged to try to use all those. But use the enemy pings for that alone. Now, there's one exception that I use for the enemy ping, and I'll tell you about it here in just a second. But this is going to help psychologically protect the purity of what each ping is for. That way it is absolutely crystal clear for your teammates what you mean by each ping. Now, if I go in between using the enemy ping for a location and a normal ping for a location, right? When I actually need to use the enemy ping, my teammates might not have the response time that I need them to have in a situation because I've already been using the enemy ping for something that's less high stakes, right? So the enemy ping needs to mean precisely that, enemies. Now, if you can be someone who really just protects that and uses it exclusively for that, it will help your teammates' response time turn to the right fight, get to you quicker, whatever it might look like, but it obviously just protects what each one is for, okay? Now, there's one last thing that I do that I find to be pretty helpful, and to show you right here, there are times, and this is the only exception that I have for the enemy ping, and if I'm doing this, most likely it's in a time that's after a fight and it's not as intense, or maybe I rebooted a teammate and we need to rotate out because of storm, but they're gonna stay back and loot something, right? Typically you can do your location ping over an item and it will do something like that, but I don't know if it's happened to you, but a lot of times it starts to become hard to find certain loot. And so what I'll do is if I ping something and I know that my teammate is really far away from it and it's in a POI that there's a lot going on, I will say, hey teammate, there's bunkers right here. And what I'll say is I'll say on enemy ping. Okay, now the enemy ping is a lot more definitive and easy to find in my opinion than the bunkers, and I think in pubs it stays longer too. I don't know why it's disappearing right now, but I think typically in pubs it's gonna stay there. So I'll put an enemy ping on loot that is crucial for a teammate, like say there's extra slap juices or something like that. I'll make sure that there is like definitive like spot on it, because sometimes like it's a whole pile of loot and the teammate is in storm and they need to find one thing. So what I want to do to be a good teammate is make sure that I give them as much help as possible that I can from my view in the situation. All right, guys, that is going to wrap this video up. So I'm just going to quickly recap everything that we just went over. Number one, you got to choose to be a selfless teammate. Number two, establish an in-game leader when possible, to make sure that there's no division and your team is working as a unit. And number three, learn how to add some unique vocal cues as to add to the efficiency overall of communication. Now, what I want to encourage you to do is to implement these strategies that I just went over in this video as soon as possible to improve your performance overall in Zero Build. Again, thank you so much for watching. This was another episode of the MF Breakdown. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more Zero Build content just like this.